Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're jumping into something really interesting for anyone living that digital nomad life. How do you get affordable U.S. health insurance while you're, working from anywhere?
Yeah, it's a huge question.
Right. So our mission here is to navigate this tricky area where U.S. tax law, the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, kind of collide for self-employed nomads. It feels like a paradox, doesn't it? Qualifying for ACA subsidies while technically living abroad.
It really is a paradox. You've got this group facing unique legal hurdles, compliance traps even. It definitely requires some smart planning. And the key, the absolute linchpin for making insurance affordable is the premium tax credit, the PTC.
Okay, PTC. Let's unpack that. What exactly is it, and what's the biggest deal about it for someone trying to get marketplace insurance?
So the premium tax credit, or PTC, it's basically a subsidy from the federal government. It helps people afford insurance they buy through the ACA marketplace. The biggest advantage, it's refundable.
Refundable, meaning?
Meaning it's not just lowering your tax bill, it can actually come back to you as a cash refund.
Yeah.
Even if you owe zero taxes, or if the credit's bigger than your tax bill, that's huge. But if you get advance payments, to lower your premiums each month, you absolutely have to reconcile that.
Reconcile.
Yeah, using Form 8962 when you file your taxes. It's not optional. You got to do it to avoid problems down the line.
Got it. Non-negotiable. So, sounds great, but eligibility?
Yeah.
What are the main requirements, especially that sticky one for nomads?
Well, there are a few, but the big one, the real crux for nomads, is you must live in the United States. For the marketplace, that specifically means being a tax resident of a U.S. state or D.C.
Ah, okay. And that's where the tension starts, right? Because you might be physically anywhere else.
Exactly. Your laptop might be in Lisbon, but your tax home needs to be in, say, Florida.
Which brings up this whole idea of domicile versus residence. Can you break that down? How do you legally prove a U.S. home base if you're mostly, not based there?
Right. It's a critical distinction. You can have lots of residences places you stay, but only one domicile. That's your true, fixed, permanent home, the place you intend to return to eventually. Proving that intention while you're traveling the world, that takes deliberate action.
Like what? What kind of actions?
You need objective evidence, establishing a physical U.S. address, and I mean a real street address, not just a P.O. box or mail forwarder. Getting a driver's license in that state, registering to vote there,
okay,
consolidating your finances, like your main bank accounts, in that state, and crucially, filing your federal taxes as a resident of that state. Oh, and a pro tip.
Yeah.
Seriously, consider establishing domicile in a state with no state income tax. Think Florida, Texas, South Dakota, Nevada, Wyoming. It just simplifies things massively later on.
Smart. Okay, so you nailed down your domicile, step one. But then there's this income issue. I've heard about a Magi trap. What's that about?
Ah, yes. The MGI trap. MGI is modified adjusted gross income. It's the income figure used to calculate your PTC eligibility and amount. And here's the painful twist for nomads using the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion, or FEIE.
The FEIE. That lets you exclude income earned abroad from U.S. taxes, right?
Exactly. But for the PTC calculation, that excluded foreign income gets added back into your MGI.
Wait, seriously? So you exclude it for income tax, but it counts against you for health insurance subsidies?
Precisely. It often bumps nomads right out of the income range where they'd qualify for a decent subsidy. It effectively wipes out the PTC benefit for many. It's a really nasty surprise if you're not expecting it.
Wow, okay, so if the FEIE is potentially toxic for your PTC, what's the better move? Is there an alternative?
Yes, thankfully. The foreign tax credit, or FTC, this is usually the much smarter play if you want that PTC.
How does the FTC avoid the trap?
Because the FTC is a credit, not an exclusion, you get a credit for taxes you pay to a foreign government. It directly reduces your U.S. tax liability, but it doesn't involve excluding income that then gets added back for MGI. So your MGI for PTC purposes stays lower.
Okay, so no add back. That keeps your income down for the subsidy calculation.
Right. And there's another legal point here, too. The FEIE requires you to have a foreign tax home and, importantly, no U.S. abode. But all those steps you took to establish U.S. domicile for the ACA, they pretty much prove you do have a U.S. abode.
Ah, so trying to use FEIE while claiming U.S. domicile for ACA is legally shaky anyway.
It can be, yeah. The FTC aligns much better with the overall strategy of maintaining U.S. ties for healthcare purposes.
Makes sense. Now, what about freelancers? Many nomads are self-employed. How does the self-employed health insurance deduction, the AHID, play into this?
Good question. So there's a rule. No double dipping. You can't use the same premium dollar for both the C-head deduction and the PTC calculation.
Okay, so you choose one or the other for each dollar.
Essentially, yes, but you can be strategic. The CI lowers your adjusted gross income, which in turn lowers your MGI. So you can use the C-hide almost like a dial. Deduct just enough premium to lower your MGI into that sweet spot where you maximize the PTC, which is often more valuable because it's a dollar-for-dollar credit.
So you coordinate them. Use eTide to fine-tune your income to get the biggest possible PTC.
Exactly. It's about optimizing the interaction between the two.
Okay, one more potential snag.
Yeah.
You mentioned choosing your domicile state carefully for tax reasons. Does the state choice matter for health insurance rules themselves?
Absolutely. This is another compliance trap. Some states, like California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, D.C., have their own individual health insurance mandates.
Meaning state-level penalties if you don't have qualifying coverage.
Correct. You might qualify for the federal PTC, think you're all set, but then get hit with a state penalty because you didn't meet their specific requirements or didn't file for their specific exemption, which might apply if you live abroad. You have to know the rules for your specific domicile state.
Federal okay doesn't always mean state okay. That's a crucial heads up. So with all these moving parts, domicile proof, FEIE versus FTC, SEHI, state rules documentation must be key if the IRS ever asks questions.
Oh, absolutely critical. The burden of proof is on you. You need meticulous contemporaneous records. Keep everything.
Like what specifically?
Proof of your U.S. domicile lease, utility bills, voter card, driver's license, detailed travel logs showing where you were and when passport stamps help too, bank statements showing ties to your domicile state, and definitely Form 1095-A, which you get from the marketplace that's essential for reconciling the PTC, plus all your foreign tax payment receipts if you're claiming the FTC. Build your paper trail as you go.
Got it. Document everything.
Okay.
Let's try to recap the core strategies here for nomads wanting that U.S. health coverage.
Sounds good.
First, establish and maintain a clear U.S. domicile. That's your anchor. Second, generally avoid the FEIE if you want the PTC. It's likely to backfire because of the FGI add back.
Right. Embrace the foreign tax credit instead. It's usually a more compatible strategy.
Third, coordinate that self-employed health insurance deduction with the PTC to optimize your benefits. Don't just take the deduction without thinking about the credit.
And know your domicile state's specific health insurance rules.
And finally, underpinning everything. Document, document, document. Contemporaneously.
Like that's the playbook. It takes effort.
It definitely sounds like it. Which leads to a final thought. This digital nomad life offers so much freedom, right? Untethered exploration.
Huh.
But navigating U.S. healthcare and taxes, it seems to demand this very deliberate, almost performative act of legal compliance, of maintaining that U.S. anchor. What stands out to you most about that tension, the push and pull between total freedom and necessary legal ties?